Well, Dennis, a great honour for you to be appointed the chairman of the Canberra Raiders board. Not many people have had the opportunity to have this position, so you must be really excited about it.
Oh, I am. It's a tremendous honour. It's a important responsibility. The Raiders are an essential part of the heart and soul of Canberra and the surrounding community.
Obviously, the passing of Dr. Alan Hawke needed to fill the position, and you've been able to step up after a long tenure as a director. Obviously, Alan and his predecessor, John McIntyre, both leave a lasting legacy.
Oh yes, in fact, very big shoes to fill with Alan. I was very good mates with Alan, enormous respect for him, and he did a heck of a lot for this club, as did his predecessor, John McIntyre. And if I can do half the job they've done, I'll be very pleased.
Obviously, a very exciting time for the Canberra Raiders with the introduction this season of the NRLW team, something that no doubt yourself and the rest of the board are really looking forward to.
Oh yeah, I mean, look, if you're looking at the club's priorities, very simple from my perspective. First of all, it is continuing the legacy of left by Alan Hawke and John McIntyre. It is about embedding and establishing the women's program in the Canberra Raiders. We'll have a Canberra Raiders team in the women's competition for the first time this year. Getting that up and running is a big priority for us. We need to continue to enhance the men's program at all levels. Quite obviously, we remain interested and committed to working with the ACT government, with the federal government and the surrounding area and other sporting teams in the establishment of a national stadium in Canberra. It's worth noting on that front that a national stadium was part of the original Griffin plan for Canberra. It's not something that the Canberra Raiders put on the agenda. It's something that Walter Burley Griffin himself put out there for the national capital 120 years ago, and we look forward to working cooperatively with the ACT government on that, and obviously building the membership further and also working with our sponsors.
Well, I guess, Dennis, are you able to sort of tap into your, I guess, old contacts and that sort of thing through the governments to help get that stadium across the line?
Oh, look, in terms of, I understand that governments have a lot of priorities. It is not for a football club to bang the table and demand things of government. It's for us to work with the government. I think it would be misleading to pretend that I could tap into a range of contacts and magically bring a national stadium to pass. But the current stadium has reached its use-by date. I think that is understood, and quite clearly, as a national capital, having a new stadium is an important priority, but we need to do that cooperatively with the ACT government and with the federal government.
Where, I guess, do you see that taking place? Is it the government, ACT government seems to be leaning back towards Bruce, or do you see Civic as
Look, David, I don't think it's for us to lay down the location of it. I think the important thing is a new stadium which is fit for purpose for us and for other sporting teams in Canberra, and also so that Canberra can attract international teams. I think that is recognised. So I think the location is probably secondary to a new stadium.
How do you think the Bruce Stadium compares to other stadia around the country, for example, in Townsville?
Oh, it's quite clearly the Townsville Stadium is newer. In fact, most state governments around the country have in recent years built new stadiums. We see the Optus Stadium in Perth. We see the Adelaide Stadium. The Tasmanian government is talking about constructing a stadium in Hobart or Launceston. The Townsville Stadium is relatively new. So we're a little bit behind on that front. But again, we do need to understand that the ACT government has a lot of competing priorities, and we need to work with them, not against them.
Is it something, I guess, that will help boost those membership numbers too? You talk about wanting to get more fans in, having somewhere that can enhance that entertainment aspect for fans is obviously...
Oh yes, very much. And you see that with the CommBank Stadium at Parramatta. You see that with the new stadium in Sydney. Both those stadiums have become a source of attraction for the community in their own right. And I think to have something like that in Canberra would be terrific for the city and the surrounding area.